Howdy. What's up, everybody? Rob checking in. I hope all the vinyl community is doing well, and the record collectors watching, and all of the innocent bystanders. I have a stack of records, yay tall, that I've accumulated since my last video, which may have been a month ago or so. I did buy a couple records off of Discogs, and there was a record fair somewhat locally this past weekend, and I bought 6 records there. Very pleased with that trip. Also, I got 3 records from a very good friend of mine who frequents thrift stores, secondhand stores, and he always goes through the records looking for me. I share a bond with him as far as music. We're always talking about music. So he grabbed me a few there, and that was fun. So there's a nice mix here. We got some alternative rock, a little bit of piano jazz, a little bit of country, a little bit of classic rock. And I'm thrilled to show you my latest finds and gifts. This one's from Discogs, The Bends, Radiohead. Now, this was a pretty massively popular album. It's not my favorite Radiohead album, but I did have to grab it because it was the last studio album I did not have by them. I'm not a kind of completist in any way, but this is a really good album. Actually, every song's good. I think I may have overplayed it in my past, but really phenomenal. This was kind of a little foreshadowing in this album for what was to come, especially on their next album, OK Computer, widely regarded as one of the best albums of the last few decades. But yeah, The Bends, fantastic. Glad to find this. Actually, I lied. That was not off Discogs. I grabbed that at a record store. He had it reasonably priced. Because I grabbed this on the same stop. This is an original pressing of 1999, Prince. 1982, double album. You guys should know this. Really, the whole thing's excellent. I don't think there's too much. He did too much wrong with this album. Let's Pretend We're Married, Lady Cab Driver. Of course, the first side is basically 3 pretty massive hits. 1999, Little Red Corvette, Delirious. Kind of iconic artwork at this point. Prince, I respect Prince to the utmost degree for his musicianship. He could do it all. His pop sensibilities, his singing, excellent singing range. His guitar, he could shred. He master on the synthesizer. Really, if you see, this was like $10, which is kind of ridiculous because it's, besides this little sticker tear here, absolutely beautiful copy. The records are near flawless. This, on the other hand, not so flawless, though the record does play quite well. This was at a record fair in someone's dollar bin, but I put my copy, I had a copy of this before, but it was unlistenable. This one looks unlistenable, but it's not. The record is pretty good. Yardbird Greatest Hits. Beat to Hell. Looks like it went through the lawnmower. But, again, this is on the, this thing
But again, I just wanted a copy I can play. This is Epic, Yellow Epic label. And this was this dollar or two, and very, very happy. I appreciate the sellers that'll grade a record based on cover. I'm the kind of guy who, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy. If I can play it, it's fine. Yardbirds, massively influential, spawned 3 all-time greats on the guitar. Honestly, not my favorite band by any means. I think there's a lot better 60s bands. That's why I opt for the greatest hits on the Yardbirds. This is all I need for the Yardbirds, to be honest with you. Another classic rock 60s legendary band. The Doors' Soft Parade did not have this. Again, he sold this based on ringware. And we talked about this album for a minute because I was skeptical. He said when I looked at it, it looked like what you'd grade a very good, which is not very good. He said he play tested it and he promised it sounded a lot better, and that's why I only had it for $5. I listened to this today, and lo and behold, he was right. Actually, it sounds great. Soft Parade, yeah, I put some notes on some of these sometimes, just quick reference, but Soft Parade was one of those albums, and I talked to the vendor about this too. He says it's, a lot of, especially reading, when this came out, it wasn't well received by kind of hardcore Doors fans at the time, and even the critical, the critics, partially due to what they would consider them going in a pop direction or kind of selling out in some sounds, which I can hear that in, Tell All the People and Touch Me and a couple other tracks here. I don't think that's the problem with this album. I think the problem is that it's very uneven and unfocused. You can kind of almost hear the band unraveling. But with that in mind, there are some excellent songs on this. Actually, the title track, the Soft Parade on this, I would put that up there with some of my favorite Doors tracks. I think that's one of their massive, album enders, like The End and Riders on the Storm, songs like LA Woman, these very long tracks. This is a bit more proggy and progressive in that sense. It's a little weirder, but excellent song. The morning of the record fair I went to, I was kind of playing songs on YouTube. I came across this guy named Tyler Childers, country artist. He was playing a song acoustically called White House Road, and I was very impressed. Loved the song. I played it a whole bunch of times in a row. Check that out. Tyler Childers, White House Road. There's an acoustic version, which is better than the version on this. But anyways, somebody at the record fair had this, and I snagged it right up. Purgatory, Tyler Childers. The second song I had heard before I actually grabbed this was Feathered Indians, the second track. Fantastic modern country music. I'm very picky when it comes to country music. Don't get me wrong, I love my classic country, my outlaw country, Waylon, Willie, Johnny. I'll listen to George Jones. Modern country is a different story for me. I do love a few artists like Jason Isbell, actually one of my favorite artists, favorite musicians. Sturgill Simpson, who produced this album. That kind of turned me on too, because Sturgill Simpson's a brilliant musician. Tyler Childers, check out those songs I mentioned. YouTube. A little sharp left turn here. Some hardcore punk. We got a little Circle Jerks. This is Group Sex. I believe 1980. I don't know about that. 1980? I don't see it anywhere, but classic cover. This isn't my go-to music. Hardcore punk from the early 80s. Though my friend who gave me the records I'm going to show soon always talks about the Circle Jerks and you know, a lot of those old punk bands, Stiff Little Fingers, of course, you know, your Clashes, your Ramones, but Circle Jerks, you know, the guy had it priced reasonably well and it was in great shape, so I grabbed it. Pretty cool shit. Another sharp left turn here in a different direction. A little proggy madness of Van der Graaf Generators Pawn Hearts. When did this come out? Early 70s, 1972. I'm guessing. This is on Charisma. Of course, your Charisma label there. Cool label. I'm not well versed in my Van der Graaf Generator, but I am familiar with them. This is my first album by them. I have heard some of you, in particular Derek Higgins, talk about this this band a lot, and a couple of you prog fans have talked about this a lot, so I grabbed it, and happy with this. Extraordinarily talented band. I'm gonna be, you know, I have to be in the, like, this isn't background music. You have to be engaged in this to kind of appreciate it. I do love me some prog. Yeah, last thing I got at that record fair was a little band called Stereolab. Excellent 90s, oh goodness, what do you call this? Music. This is upbeat, groove-based music. Somewhat electronic, somewhat jazzy. Some horns in there. Maybe even a bit of krautrock in the kind of repetitiveness. I don't know if I want to use the word krautrock, but I think they listen to their krautrock. I will say that. This is called The Free Design. I liked this. This is an EP, 1999. I preferred the second, the third and fourth song, the second side basically. But really, this whole thing is excellent. That, yeah, Stereolab. Here are the albums my buddy grabbed me from the second-hand store. Buck a piece. Robert Plant. This is The Principle of Moments. Excuse me. Something I would overlook 99% of the time, unless it was a nice copy for $1, which this is. Actually, the record looks, it was basically in mint condition. I'm not going to pull it out right now, but In the Mood was the bigger single on this, which is an excellent song. Especially, I really love the synthesizer at the end of that song. But it's a great like chill Robert Plant song. Don't play this like with a Led Zeppelin mindset. You're not gonna get it. I really like the first track as well, Other Arms. And the last song too, Big Log. I think that might have been played a little bit when this came out as well. There you go. And this is on... what label is this? I'll get back to you on that. Mars, Pump Up the Volume. I'd grab this for $1 at a thrift store, definitely. This is kind of cool, actually. We played this and we were kind of laughing because of how, you know, I'm not going to say it sounds extraordinarily dated compared to some other music from this time period. It is dated, but it still booms pretty cool, and the drums aren't too corny. A lot of times in the 80s, kind of club music or synth pop and stuff like that, the drums are unbearable. But yeah, I mean, this is a cool, kind of just a cool, like, fun track. I'll keep this. Thanks, Billy. Last one he gave me was Hooters. Nervous Night, I believe. Yeah, Nervous Night. Hooters, known, this album anyways, for the tracks And We Danced and All You Zombies. Both excellent songs. And We Danced, I consider, I mean, that is the epitome of what I want in, like, 80s, like, heartland rock pop music. What an excellent song. And We Danced. I would call it a guilty pleasure, but no, fuck that. Like, I think it's just a fucking good song. Like, And We Danced, great song. I did play it for a friend of mine the other day, and he rolled his eyes, but And We Danced, I love that song. I'm not ashamed. Who knows, maybe that'll be my screenshot. Hooters. Alright, 2 more records here. These ones were off of Discogs. I got these 2 days ago. First one I'm going to show is excellent modern indie rock band TV on the Radio. Desperate Youth, Bloodthirsty Babes. This, I think, was their first official release. This is an EP. It is a double EP, which is kind of odd, but yeah, this side, I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of a, it's etched on one side. Kind of cool design, kind of like a, I don't know, flower or like some wind or something. Anyways, this album, this EP, I guess, Staring at the Sun, that song is 10 out of 10. Absolutely awesome song. Play it. If you don't know TV on the Radio, check out Staring at the Sun. Excellent vocals from these guys. Some kind of odd production and odd songwriting for kind of, it's a simple album, and it's kind of based on, vocals for the most part. The instruments are a bit obtuse and kind of just odd. There's a lot of, like, kind of fuzz bass underneath. It's almost overplayed a bit, the fuzz bass on this. But really, The Wrong Way, Dreams, Bomb Yourself. There's some really good songs on this album. TV on the Radio went on to make, in my humble opinion, much better music than this. But this is really great. Again, kind of an upward trajectory after this album. Some of which I have up there. Yeah, TV on the Radio. Last thing I'm going to show you. Super thrilled to buy a cheap copy of this. I guess it looks like I got this from Tunnel Records, wherever that is. Where did they ship that from? Maybe Tennessee, I'm guessing. Anyways, this is not a hard record to find, but every time I see it, it is too scratched. This is a record that you cannot buy with any scratches on it. Reason being, it is solo piano music. This is Keith Jarrett's The Cold Concert, recorded live and improvised in Germany sometime in the 70s. Cool gatefold there. Kind of minimalistic. Actually, the cover represents the album very well. Not in the minimalism, but in the fact that it's just him improvising behind a piano. Basically 4 really long tracks, double album, 1 song aside. 1975. But yeah, I was, he sold this for $10, I think, and it was listed as very good plus, and he said that was conservatively graded. I agree with him. Super happy to have this. Like I said, this is not a hard record to find, but I'm really glad to have this, a nice copy of this. ECM Records. I think this was, I want to say I read that this was the most sold solo piano record of all time. I believe it went platinum, maybe multiple times, but Keith Jarrett. I hope you liked my new finds. I like watching y'all. Yeah, I'll catch you next time when I have some more records to show.